people's houses doing cookery lessons, I find that their knife sets are quite blunt, and there really is no reason for it. But there seems to be a misconception that you have to be a professional or you have to be a really good home chef to be able to maintain your knives. This really isn't the case. It's easy to do, and also it can be quite cheap. It doesn't have to be a very expensive thing. So I'm going to show you how to do that today. And I just want to point out before I do so that what I'm showing you is how to bring the edge back on a knife. When I say edge, I mean if you imagine my hands as the point of the knife, the edge of your knife is at the top here. And as you use your knife, the edge begins to curl over at the end. That's when your knife becomes getting blunt. If you imagine trying to chop with a curved edge, it's not going to work. So the method I show you today is how to bring that edge back and correct it to a nice sharp knife. If you've got a knife you've had for about 10 years and you've never sharpened it, these methods probably aren't going to work for you. In that case, you're going to need to use something like a whetstone, which will grind the metal back so you can put the angle back on the knife, or you're going to have to send it off to a professional. Every knife will benefit from time to time using a whetstone, but the more you maintain your knife, then the less you're going to have to do it, and your knife is just going to stay nice and sharp. So please try and have a go at it. Okay, so today what we're using is a steel. A few points about steel. Try and get one that's about 10 to 12 inches long. It just makes it much easier, especially if you're going to be sharpening with quite a big knife. You've got more room to work with. Try and get one with a nice sturdy handle, and also a plastic guard is better than a metal guard. The reason I'm saying that is because if you choose to use the method where you're coming down steel towards your hand, a plastic guard has more give. If there's a metal guard, as you put the edge back on your knife and you come down to the metal guard, if you hit it, then that's actually going to knock the edge off the top of the knife again, so you've just wasted your time. Okay, I've got a couple of steels here. We've got one here is just a bit finer, which will have give your knife a nice fine edge, and also I have a diamond steel. You may find that if a normal steel isn't working, you can try a diamond steel, which will actually be a bit harsher on your knife. But if this really doesn't work, I'm afraid it's back to the whetstone or the oil stone. Okay, so sharpening your knife. The method I'm going to show you first is probably the easiest and the safest way to do it, because you're working away from yourself, so you're going to minimise the chance of cutting yourself. So take a nice firm grip of your sharpening steel. Don't put your thumb over the end of the guard, because obviously either way, if you're doing it this way or you're coming down, then that's dangerous. You're going to risk slicing yourself. So keep your finger underneath the guard, and we're going to take the heel of the knife and place it on the bottom of the steel, on the bottom of the guard here, and we're going to use about a 20-degree angle. And if you've got a knife such as I've got here, I've got a global knife, you can go at a much lower angle, maybe down to 15 degrees or something in between, because they are capable of holding a much finer edge. If your knife is a bit more of a budget knife, you may want to go for around 20 degrees, because they just can't cope with holding that fine edge. Okay, so from the heel of the knife, on the bottom of the steel, get your angle, and then all you're going to do is you're just going to draw the knife away, keeping the same angle, and off at the tip. So there's no risk involved. You're drawing it away and away from yourself. Another point is to look at the way I'm holding the knife. I've got the knife, I've got my thumb on the side of the knife there, so I'm very controlled with the knife. I'm not holding it back here and trying to sharpen, because there's more risk of me slipping or the knife moving and me getting the wrong angle, which is actually just going to make your knife even worse. So I've got a nice firm grip, I'm holding the blade so it's not going to move. So I'm on the heel of the knife and I'm going up and off at the end, and then I'm going to go underneath the steel on the bottom, heel of the knife, a 20-degree angle again, and then draw the knife up and off at the end. Now you'll probably find some people doing this, especially on TV, and think, oh, that would be great to do because that will really impress my friends. But if you get the angle wrong when you're doing that, then the chances are you're going to damage the knife more. You've got the risk of bashing the knife on the steel as it contacts. That could end up chipping the edge. And also there's a risk of cutting yourself, and you just really don't need to do it that many times. To effectively maintain your knife, all you really need to do is to go 1, 2, 3, 4. And that's perfectly enough. If you do that every time that you cook or after you've cooked and you've washed your knife, that will maintain a nice edge on your knife. After you've done that, just give it a quick wipe with a paper towel, just to take any metal filings off, so you don't want to be chopping those into your food, and then store it back on your knife rack or in the drawer where it's not going to get bashed, because again, if it's in a cutlery drawer with loads of other utensils and you go in for something else and you've got things bashing around on the side of your knife, obviously that's going to knock the edge and it's going to lose its sharpness. The same principle goes if you're using a diamond steel. This is an oval shaped diamond steel. Again, you're just going to keep that 20-degree angle and you're going to work the knife up to the end and off, and then underneath, up to the end and off. You can do it from the top of the steel, and the same principle, working from the heel at a 20-degree angle, draw the knife down and off at the end, and then underneath and down off at the end. And so again, if you're doing it this way, all you need to do is go 1, 2, 3, 4, and that will be fine. Give your knife a quick wipe. Also give the steel a quick wipe, just keep it clean, keep it working well, and store your knife back. And that's really all there is to it. Another couple of things I'm going to mention before I go are try to avoid using ceramic or glass chopping boards, because they act almost like the metal guard on a steel wood. As you're chopping, there's no give, so as you chop, that ceramic board is damaging and flattening the edge of your knife. Which would mean you'll be sharpening all the time and probably not getting anywhere. Also, ceramic boards, there is a chance that your knife will slip and they can be quite dangerous. So try and go for a wooden board or a plastic board, or even one of these combination boards of like a mixed material. They're much better for your knives and they're also safer. They're perfectly hygienic. As long as you use a good sanitizer, then it's all good. I hope you found today's video helpful, and please check back and check my other posts. Thank you.